This is a review and comparison of the Replica Reflex Leupold LCO sight. Shockingly, these look very close to the real Leupold LCO. Sadly, they're often listed and sold as the real optic, valued at between $800 and $1,200 on different websites. I've contacted several sellers of the fakes, and they swear the optic that they are selling is real, or that they paid $900 from someone else. Now this can simply be confirmed, which I told all of them, by calling Leupold and giving them the serial number from the bottom of the optic. Often the ad is removed or the price is reduced within a few days or even hours of my contacting the seller. The main purpose of this video is to show you the differences between the real optic and the replica, as I have both on hand for comparison. This can help people who are looking to purchase the optic and keeping them from buying a fake when they're actually looking for the real thing. So let's start by taking a look at the box. The box that contains the replica and the real optic look very similar. It's the same digital camouflage coloring on the box. It has the Leupold logo on the top of the box. They just open in different ways. On the replica, you're going to be able to take off the entire top. It's a separate piece, and on the real optic, the box folds open. If you tip the box on its side, you're going to notice one of the dead giveaways that the optic is fake, the reticle type and color options. This is not an option with the real LCO. The only reticle type available is a dot for the optic. The only color that's available is black for the optic. The only differences, or the only option that Leupold offers, is the white lettering on the side versus the black lettering on the side, which is called the blacked out version, which is the version that I have. On the replica, you're going to have 8 different reticle options, and you're going to have 3 color options: black, tan, camouflage. I've even seen them in like a bronze color or a flat gray color. These are not real. They do not come from Leupold with those color options. So let's take a look inside the box. As you can see, extremely similar here. Both optics are protected by a black, thick foam rubber material. There's a hole in the upper right hand side of the box for the battery. Another giveaway here is that with the replicas, you're most likely not going to receive a battery. The battery, because it's coming from overseas, usually China, Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, they are not allowed to ship batteries in airmail, so the optic will most likely not ship with a battery. Whereas with the real optic that comes from Leupold, the sight is made in America. Therefore, it's going to come with a battery because it never left the United States. It can travel on the ground. It will arrive at your home, sealed in plastic. When you open it, there's going to be a battery in the upper right battery hole compartment within that foam. So just a bit of quick background. The LCO is Leupold's attempt to move in on EOTech's market. Okay, even in its press release, Leupold says, "The LCO is protected by a rugged, machined aluminum housing, unlike other offerings that rely on a metal shroud over a plastic housing." This is obviously a direct dig against EOTech, who uses a plastic housing with a simple metal shroud that's screwed on or bolted on to the top of it. So let's take a look at the replica and the real optic. So as you can see, the optics side by side look extremely similar. I mean, they are very similar. If I had the white lettered optic, there's only a few things that would make you be able to tell the optics apart just by looking at them and by using the optic. Based on pure aesthetics, they are 99%. The replica is 99% a copy of the actual Leupold LCO red dot optic. So the markings are copied perfectly. On the left and on the right, there is Leupold lettering in its original font, just as it is on the real version. On the left side of the sight, on the bottom left, LCO is printed, and on the right, it's marked with an American flag and with the text "Designed, Machined, Assembled in the USA." The top has the Leupold logo and is exactly like the real version. On the bottom of the sight is the serial number, and this is key. Usually the serial number on the replicas is the same on all of them. Again, you can always call Leupold, give them the serial number on the bottom of the optic, and they will verify whether or not the optic is real. Now we'll discuss one of the glaring things that stands out on the replica versus the real optic. This is where we're going to start seeing issues. The glass. Now what you normally pay for on an optic is the glass. How clear the glass is, how crisp it is, the finish that's on it, any kind of coating that's on it. This is where you're putting your money and what you're paying for a lot of times when you're purchasing an optic. So the glass on the replica, it's smooth on the front and the back glass. The front glass even has a very slight yellow tint, which looks just like the real optic. However, it looks like a mirror. And I mean, there's no curvature to it. It is flat, just like a mirror. You can look in it and see your reflection. The rear glass doesn't have as much of a mirror effect, but it has a light purple hue to it. As a visual demonstration, I put a white ball bearing behind the rear glass and a screwdriver bit in front of the front glass so that you can see the mirror and the see-through effect of the optic. Getting into the use of the optic, the large button on the left side of the sight is both the power button and the brightness adjustment wheel on both the real and the replica. To turn the sight on and off, you press the button in the center. You adjust the brightness up by turning the wheel forward or away from you, and decrease the brightness by rolling it back towards you. The replica has 10 brightness levels, the real version has 16, and they all work. On the replica, before 1 and after 10 brightness level, the reticle color will switch to green. Green is not a reticle color offered on the real version. This is another clear distinction between the two. With the replica, when you turn it off while it's set to green and turn it back on, the sight will display in red, so there's no memory at the last setting like there is on the real optic. The real LCO has a 15-minute auto shut-off and a motion on feature that the replica does not have. So let's look at the adjustment knobs. Adjusting the position of the dot is done by 2 adjustment screws on the sight from above behind the glass and on the left close to the American flag. This is on the real and the replica. Pay close attention here as the replica adjustment screws are a blackish silvery color, like a dull chrome or like a black chrome color. While on the real LCO, the adjustment screws are flat black. Okay, this is another clear giveaway that you're looking at a replica versus the real thing. The adjustment knobs on both have audible clicks, and they're felt clicks as well, so there is some tactile feel as you adjust both the real and the replica. The replica can be adjusted to center using a bore sight with no issues. Now, all of that being said, the replica versus the real thing, they both look really good. I'll show you both mounted onto my rifle. You can see the replica here. Looks great mounted to the rifle. And then you can see this is the real Leupold LCO here, mounted to the rifle. Looks great, and they both look the same except for the lettering. I mean, you could say that these are almost indistinguishable from one another. The biggest problem is the color of the glass and the use of mirrored glass. You're going to have a problem. You're going to see your eyeball reflection, or you're going to see the electronics on the replica in some different lighting situations. It really is going to depend on where the sun is, if it's at your back or are you facing the sun, how bright is the sun, things like that. You're not going to experience that issue at all with the Leupold LCO. All that taken into account, the sight is needed to accurately shoot and hit targets. Is this a viable option for airsoft? Absolutely. Get the cheapest thing you can get. Is this a viable option for your .22 rifle? Yes, absolutely. The Replica LCO will hold a 0 on a .22 caliber rifle. Will it hold up on a 223 5.56? In my experience with this particular optic, yes. I've not had an issue with the fake or the replica holding up to the shock or the recoil from my 223-556 rifle. Will it hold up on a 7.62 or 308? Probably not. I can't say for sure one way or the other because I don't shoot those types of rifles, but in all likelihood, no, it probably will not hold the zero for a rifle of that caliber. The LCO, the real LCO, you're not going to have a problem on any rifle that you mount it to. Now, can this be said for all red dot replicas? You know, things like the Trijicon SRS or the Trijicon MRO, the real thing versus the replica. I can honestly say that that's probably not going to be the same across the board, because I actually purchased the Trijicon SRS, and my neighbor and I sat at a range on a bench and could not zero the Trijicon SRS replica. The real thing, no problem. Got it zeroed, holds zero, not an issue. The replica, complete garbage. So I really don't know what makes the difference. I don't know if the way that these are being manufactured has changed and they've gotten better. But the SRS clone that I purchased over a year ago was garbage. This is not garbage. The Leupold LCO replica does work. Again, I would not trust it on a tactical, I'm going to war, I'm going to Afghanistan, I'm going to Iraq type of rifle. But for your at-home plinking, for your you're going out to the range with your buddies, it's probably going to hold up just fine. The real thing, if you've got the money, you're able to put it on your rifle, get the real thing. Support the products that are made here in America. You know, do the right thing for your country here. You know it's a product that's going to stand up. It has an outstanding warranty. You know, whether you sell it to someone, whether you give it to someone, whether you pass it down to your grandchildren, Leupold will honor the lifetime warranty on it. It doesn't matter who owns the optic at the time. If they call Leupold and say, hey, the glass broke, the red dot doesn't work, it won't hold zero, etc., Leupold will replace the optic, regardless of the owner. So let me bring this 14-minute long video to a close by saying these Chinese replica red dots, yes, they can hold zero on 223-556 style rifles. They're absolutely meant for airsoft, but they will handle real steel. As far as the Leupold LCO, is the replica worth $600, $700, $800 like the real version? Absolutely not. So if you're out there and you're trying to sell these replica red dots for the value of the real thing, you have to stop doing it. They're not worth the price that you're paying. They're easy to tell from the real thing. You can look things up, you can see tiny things, you can easily just call the manufacturer and find out for sure whether it's real or not. So don't get caught doing this, because it is a crime. It is a felony. So don't get caught doing this stuff. Also remember that these are going to be hit and miss. You might buy one for 30 bucks and it not hold a zero at all. You might buy one for 50 bucks and it does hold zero. So it's really hit or miss. You have to be careful. Just don't be disappointed when you pay 30, 40, 50 bucks for a red dot optic and it doesn't hold zero the way you're expecting it to. And, you know, so like I said, in conclusion, if you're going to get one, get the real thing and put it on your rifle and enjoy it. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below.